It was a blazing summer night when Vegas first appeared on television screens and instantly captured the imagination of viewers across the nation. The radiant glow of neon lights beckoned audiences into a world where fortune and danger walked hand in hand. Every week families gathered around their television sets to witness Dan Tanna stride through casino corridors with an unshakable confidence that seemed to flout every threat he encountered. The series reinvented the detective story by placing a modern cowboy at the heart of Sin City and by weaving cinematic flair into each storyline. Audiences found themselves entranced by the clash of glamour and grit that shimmered beneath the desert sky. Behind the spectacle of high-stakes investigations lay the real mystery of Vegas itself. Viewers celebrated each clever twist and each pulse-pounding showdown without asking what lay beyond the final credits. Yet the greatest secret of all waits hidden in plain sight within old studio photographs and vintage interviews. The stars who brought Dan Tanna's world to life have since passed into memory, but their spirits linger in every frame. Their performances defined a golden era of television, and their lives held stories as compelling as any plot devised by the show's writers. There is an almost haunting irony in the way that fame can preserve a character long after the person who portrayed them has departed. We marvel at reruns and quote lines without ever pausing to consider the journeys that began with youthful ambition and ended in places no script could predict. Behind every unforgettable face lies a tapestry of dreams sacrificed for success and battles fought in silence away from public view. Some actors weathered the storm of scandal that threatened to eclipse their talent. Others faced illness or personal hardship with courage known only to those closest to them. Their off-camera trials rivaled the perils Dan Tanna confronted on screen, yet remained largely invisible to the adoring crowds. Now the question that beckons us beyond nostalgic remembrance is this: what are these actors doing now? We owe it to their memory to go deeper than clips and trivia lists. We must trace the path from the first audition room to their final curtain call. We owe it to ourselves to discover how the allure of Vegas shaped their destinies and how their final chapters reflect a resilience that transcends mere entertainment. Exploring these untold stories will reveal layers of sacrifice and triumph that elevate our appreciation of the series and of the courageous souls who embodied its spirit. If you have ever felt the thrill of victory as Dan Tanna cracked another impossible case, or if you have ever wondered why the bright lights of Stardust Boulevard could not shield its stars from life's harshest realities, you are not alone. Tonight we embark on a journey into the hidden lives of Vegas's bravest performers whose contributions paved the way for countless shows to follow. We will honor their achievements and confront the controversies that shaped their reputations. We will celebrate their most daring moments on camera and pay tribute to the battles they fought beyond the glare of studio spotlights. Join us on this emotional quest into the heart of a television legend. Subscribe now to follow each chapter of this series as we shine a spotlight on the true stories behind those unforgettable faces. The adventure begins here. Robert Urich, 1946 to 2002. Robert Urich grew up in a small town in Ohio where he spent hours dreaming of the stage and screen. He studied drama and music at the University of Kansas before moving to Los Angeles with little more than a suitcase and an unwavering belief in his own potential. In 1978 he landed the role that would define his career. As Dan Tanna, private detective and modern-day cowboy, he brought a trademark blend of quiet strength and warm charisma to every scene. Audiences across the country tuned in week after week to watch him navigate the neon corridors of Sin City and confront danger with cool resolve. Behind the camera his life resembled a roller coaster of triumph and struggle. Early fame brought opportunity but also relentless pressure to secure the next part. He married his college sweetheart Heather Menzies in 1975 and the couple built a home filled with love and laughter. When Vegas ended in 1981 he continued to work steadily in television and film but found himself embroiled in the grueling cycle of auditions and pilot seasons that can exhaust even the most dedicated actor. Tragedy struck in the summer of 1996 when he received a diagnosis of synovial sarcoma, a rare and aggressive soft tissue cancer. Rather than retreat from the spotlight he chose to fight publicly. He underwent surgery followed by rounds of chemotherapy and experimental treatments. His courage inspired fans and fellow patients alike, and he used his platform to raise significant funds for cancer research. In 1998 he celebrated a temporary remission by returning to screens in a new series, a testament to his resilience and the hope he offered to countless others. Despite a brief victory, the cancer returned in late 2001 and his health declined rapidly. Surrounded by his wife and 3 children, he spent his final months reflecting on the life he loved. On April 16, 2002, he passed away at the age of 55. His death resonated deeply throughout Hollywood and among viewers who had grown to see him as more than just a television hero. Robert Urich's legacy endures through reruns of Vegas and the charitable foundation that continues to support sarcoma research. His story reminds us that true heroism lies not in never falling but in rising with grace after every fall. Phyllis Davis, 1940–2013. Phyllis Davis was born in July 1940 in Port Arthur, Texas, and from an early age exhibited a flair for performance that led her to study drama at Lamar State College. After moving to Los Angeles, she landed small roles in films before being cast in 1978 as Beatrice Travis, the resourceful assistant to Dan Tanna on Vegas. In that role she balanced sharp wit and genuine warmth, bringing depth to a character who could have easily been one-dimensional. Viewers found themselves rooting for her every time she rescued Tanner from a tight spot or offered a wry observation that cut through the tension of his investigations. Behind the scenes, Phyllis Davis was known for her professionalism and generous spirit. She formed close friendships with fellow cast members and often stayed on set long after filming wrapped to mentor younger actors. When Vegas concluded, she continued to find steady work in television through guest appearances and recurring roles on series such as The Love Boat, Barnaby Jones, and Trapper John M.D. Though her on-camera presence remained strong, she faced the challenge of typecasting and the ever-present struggle for substantial parts in a competitive industry. In her private life, she married actor and director Alan Landers, and they built a partnership grounded in mutual respect for each other's craft. Despite the demands of their careers, they maintained a tight circle of friends and supported several charitable causes, including women's shelters and children's theater programs. There were no scandals to mar her public image, but colleagues remember her quietly battling health concerns in later years with the same courage she displayed in front of the camera. A surprising chapter emerged when she chose to pursue writing and began drafting a memoir that blended anecdotes from her Hollywood years with reflections on life beyond the spotlight. Though the memoir remained unfinished at her death on September 27, 2013 at age 73, it revealed her intelligence, curiosity, and deep empathy for the human condition. Phyllis Davis's contribution to Vegas endures in every clever retort and genuine moment of kindness that her character brought to the series. Her legacy reminds us that supporting roles can leave an indelible mark when performed with authenticity and heart. Greg Morris, 1933–1996. Greg Morris was born in Minneapolis in September 1933 and grew up surrounded by music and storytelling. After serving in the Army, he studied theater arts at Los Angeles City College, where his talent for commanding presence and quick wit caught the attention of casting directors. By the late 1960s, he had secured guest roles on a variety of television dramas, but his breakthrough came when he joined the cast of Vegas as Lieutenant David Nelson. In that role, he portrayed a dedicated police officer whose steady professionalism offered a perfect counterpoint to Dan Tanner's maverick methods. Audiences admired the trust and mutual respect that developed between Morris's character and Tanner as they collaborated to unravel complex crimes against the glittering backdrop of Las Vegas. Off-camera, Greg Morris was known for his warmth and generosity. He married his college sweetheart in the mid-1950s, and together they raised 3 children while he balanced the demands of television work with guest appearances on other hit series. Despite the pressures of a busy schedule, he made time every week to volunteer at youth theaters and to mentor aspiring actors. Colleagues remember his calm voice and sincere encouragement during long nights on set. After Vegas concluded, Greg continued to find roles in both television and film, but he faced the familiar struggle against typecasting. He challenged himself with parts that departed from the law enforcement mold, including a memorable turn in a medical drama and a lead in a stage production of A Raisin in the Sun. Those who worked with him praised his ability to bring depth and dignity to every part he played. In early 1996, Greg was diagnosed with respiratory illness that soon proved fatal. Throughout his final months, he remained outspoken about the importance of healthcare access and donated speaking fees to hospitals serving low-income families. On August 27, 1996, he passed away at age 62, surrounded by his loved ones. The news shook the entertainment community and fans who had come to admire both his on-screen integrity and his off-screen compassion. Greg Morris's legacy endures in the seasons of Vegas, where his understated authority and genuine humanity grounded the series. His work continues to inspire actors striving to portray characters with authenticity and heart. Naomi Stevens, 1925 to 2018. Naomi Stevens was born in September 1925 in London and moved to California as a child. She discovered her passion for performance in local theater productions before training at a renowned acting school in Los Angeles. Her warm presence and expressive eyes soon caught the attention of casting directors. By the time Vegas began production, she had already built a solid resume of supporting roles in both film and television. In 1978, she joined the series as Sergeant Bella Archer, offering a grounded and empathetic foil to Dan Tanner's lone wolf persona. Her character embodied quiet strength and unwavering loyalty every time she appeared on screen. Behind the scenes, Naomi was known for her gentle humor and generous spirit. She formed deep friendships with fellow cast members, often inviting them to weekend gatherings at her home where laughter and storytelling flowed freely. She remained a steadfast advocate for women in the industry, mentoring young actresses and speaking out for more complex roles beyond the usual stereotypes. After Vegas concluded, she continued to work steadily on television with memorable guest appearances in popular series and a recurring role that showcased her ability to shift seamlessly between drama and comedy. In her private life, Naomi married a respected cinematographer in the early 1950s, and together they raised 2 children whom she encouraged to follow their own creative dreams. Despite a thriving career, she never hesitated to put family first, taking breaks from acting to be present for important milestones and to care for aging relatives. Colleagues recall her as someone who could switch from discussing a tense scene to sharing heartfelt advice in a single breath. A lesser-known chapter of her life emerged when she became involved in community theater projects in her later years, teaching acting classes to seniors. She believed wholeheartedly that creativity had no age limit and found great joy in helping others discover their own voices on stage. This dedication to lifelong artistry became her unexpected legacy beyond classic television roles. Naomi Stevens passed away in January 2018 at the age of 92 after a brief illness. Her departure was felt deeply by fans who remembered her gentle authority in each episode of Vegas and by the many students she inspired through her teaching. Her legacy reminds us that true impact often lies not only in the characters we portray but in the compassion and generosity we bring to every role in life. Naomi Stevens, 1925 to 2018. Naomi Stevens was born in September 1925 in London and moved to California as a child. She discovered her passion for performance in local theater productions before training at a renowned acting school in Los Angeles. Her warm presence and expressive eyes soon caught the attention of casting directors. By the time Vegas began production, she had already built a solid resume of supporting roles in both film and television. In 1978, she joined the series as Sergeant Bella Archer, offering a grounded and empathetic foil to Dan Tanner's lone wolf persona. Her character embodied quiet strength and unwavering loyalty every time she appeared on screen. Behind the scenes, Naomi was known for her gentle humor and generous spirit. She formed deep friendships with fellow cast members, often inviting them to weekend gatherings at her home where laughter and storytelling flowed freely. She remained a steadfast advocate for women in the industry, mentoring young actresses and speaking out for more complex roles beyond the usual stereotypes. After Vegas concluded, she continued to work steadily on television with memorable guest appearances in popular series and a recurring role that showcased her ability to shift seamlessly between drama and comedy. In her private life, Naomi married a respected cinematographer in the early 1950s, and together they raised 2 children whom she encouraged to follow their own creative dreams. Despite a thriving career, she never hesitated to put family first, taking breaks from acting to be present for important milestones and to care for aging relatives. Colleagues recall her as someone who could switch from discussing a tense scene to sharing heartfelt advice in a single breath. A lesser-known chapter of her life emerged when she became involved in community theater projects in her later years, teaching acting classes to seniors. She believed wholeheartedly that creativity had no age limit and found great joy in helping others discover their own voices on stage. This dedication to lifelong artistry became her unexpected legacy beyond classic television roles. Naomi Stevens passed away in January 2018 at the age of 92 after a brief illness. Her departure was felt deeply by fans who remembered her gentle authority in each episode of Vegas and by the many students she inspired through her teaching. Her legacy reminds us that true impact often lies not only in the characters we portray but in the compassion and generosity we bring to every role in life. Will Sampson, 1933 to 1987. Will Sampson was born in August 1933 on the Muskogee Creek Nation Reservation in Oklahoma. As a child, he grew up immersed in Native American traditions, learning storytelling and community rituals that would later inform every role he played. Standing well over 6 feet tall, with a presence that combined gentle strength and profound dignity, he broke into acting relatively late, first appearing on stage and then being discovered by Hollywood scouts who recognized his remarkable gravitas. In 1973 he earned widespread acclaim as Chief Bromden in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, a performance that drew on his personal experience with mental health institutions and native spirituality. In 1978 Sampson joined the cast of Vegas as Harlan Two-Leaf, a former military comrade and trusted ally to Dan Tanna. Two-Leaf's quiet wisdom and unwavering loyalty provided emotional ballast to the series, offering glimpses of a shared history grounded in respect and brotherhood. Audiences responded to Sampson's natural charisma and the ease with which he conveyed both vulnerability and authority. On screen he was more than a sidekick, he was the moral compass in a world of flashing lights and high-stakes games. Off-camera Sampson continued to champion Native causes, using his celebrity to raise awareness about Indigenous rights and environmental preservation. He founded the American Indian Registry and housing projects on reservations, determined to create tangible opportunities for his community. Colleagues recall his calm leadership during long shoots and his insistence on authenticity, even down to the fabrics of costumes and accurate cultural references. After Vegas wrapped, Sampson remained in demand for film and television but faced serious health challenges. In the early 1980s he was diagnosed with scleroderma, an autoimmune disease that gradually stiffened his muscles and organs. Despite declining health he refused to retreat, completing roles in films like Poltergeist 2 and building homes for tribal elders whenever he could. His resilience inspired many. He often spoke of the body as a vessel for spirit rather than a prison of pain. On June 3, 1987, after complications from a lung transplant, Will Sampson passed away at the age of 53. His death sent shockwaves through Hollywood and the Native American community alike. In mourning his loss, people remembered not only the unforgettable performances but the tireless activism that defined his life. Will Sampson's legacy endures in every frame where Two-Leaf stood beside Tanner under neon skies and in every life he touched through advocacy and compassion. His story reminds us that true heroism comes from serving others and honoring one's roots, even when faced with the greatest personal trials. Byron Morrow, 1911 to 2006. Byron Morrow was born in April 1911 in Detroit, Michigan. Long before he became a familiar face on television, he honed his craft in regional theater, mastering a commanding voice and an authoritative bearing. His tall frame and resonant tone made him a natural choice for roles of power and prestige, judges, admirals, and high-ranking officials. By the late 1970s, those qualities landed him guest appearances on Vegas, where he portrayed figures such as Judge Hunt and Admiral Comac, men whose decisions could change the course of an investigation with a single decree. Off-camera, Morrow was known for his meticulous dedication to character preparation. He researched legal procedures to lend authenticity to his courtroom scenes and studied naval history for each military role. Castmates recall his generosity in sharing notes and his delight in mentoring young actors eager to learn the nuances of authority. Despite a career filled with brief but memorable turns, he carried himself with the humility of an actor grateful for every opportunity. When Vegas concluded, Morrow continued working steadily in television, appearing in dramas, westerns, and even a handful of early cable series. Well into his 70s, he embraced each new role with the same professionalism that had defined his earlier work. Yet as the years passed, the characters grew fewer and the industry shifted toward younger faces. He faced this transition with characteristic grace, retiring only when he felt he could no longer meet the physical demands of the job. In his personal life, Morrow was a devoted husband and father of two. He and his wife of over 50 years nurtured a loving household, often hosting gatherings for colleagues and friends. He passed away on May 11, 2006, at the age of 94, after a brief illness. At his funeral, fellow actors spoke of a true gentleman whose calm presence and unwavering professionalism set a standard for everyone who worked with him. Byron Morrow's legacy endures in every episode of Vegas, where his voice carried the gravitas of command and where his measured authority grounded Dan Tanner's more impulsive impulses. He reminds us that sometimes the smallest roles, when performed with conviction, can leave the deepest impression. Richard Bacallion, 1931 to 2015. Richard Bacallion was born in May 1931 in Brooklyn, New York, where he grew up surrounded by the grit and determination of working-class neighborhoods. He discovered a passion for performance in school plays and local theater before moving to Los Angeles in the mid-1950s. His rugged features and natural intensity soon caught the eye of casting directors looking for actors who could portray hardened characters with authenticity. By the time Vegas began in 1978, he had already carved out a niche playing streetwise figures in film and television. On Vegas, he appeared in multiple episodes in roles that ranged from small-time crook to hardened enforcer. His ability to inhabit criminals with a blend of menace and dark humor made him an unforgettable presence opposite Dan Tanna. Viewers never knew when his character might slip unnoticed into a back alley or emerge unexpectedly from the shadows, and every scene with Richard Bacallion crackled with tension. Behind the scenes, colleagues admired his work ethic and generosity. He treated every guest appearance as if it were a starring role, studying scripts meticulously and collaborating closely with directors and cast members to ensure each scene rang true. Younger actors remember his willingness to share insights about character motivation and to offer encouragement when they found themselves overwhelmed by the demands of the set. After Vegas concluded, he continued to work steadily, appearing in a variety of crime dramas and action films. He challenged himself with roles that departed from his criminal persona, including sympathetic father figures and small-town lawmen. Despite the demands of his career, he remained closely connected to his Armenian heritage, supporting cultural events in Los Angeles and contributing to charitable efforts that aided immigrant families. Late in life, he faced health challenges that limited his ability to work but never dimmed his spirit. He spent his final years mentoring aspiring actors at a community theater and reflecting on a career that spanned more than 6 decades. On February 27, 2015, he passed away at the age of 83. His death was mourned by fans who remembered his unforgettable turns on screen and by colleagues who valued his warmth and guidance. Richard Bacallion's legacy endures in every episode of Vegas, where his characters lurk on the edge of danger. His story reminds us that even those who play villains off-screen can leave behind a legacy of kindness and craftsmanship. Peter Haskell, 1934 to 2010. Peter Haskell was born in October 1934 in Boston, Massachusetts, into a family that valued education and the arts. A bright student, he initially pursued law at Harvard before a summer theater production ignited his passion for acting. He soon transferred to UCLA, where he immersed himself in drama studies and honed the skills that would carry him to a long television career. By the time Vegas premiered in 1978, Haskell had already appeared in acclaimed stage productions and earned guest spots on popular series, proving himself a versatile talent capable of both charm and gravitas. On Vegas, Haskell took on multiple guest roles, most notably as a calculating casino investor whose polished manners belied ruthless ambition. His poised delivery and subtle facial expressions made every line crackle with underlying tension. Audiences found themselves torn, drawn to his character's elegance yet wary of the danger simmering beneath. Each appearance left a memorable imprint, adding layers of intrigue to Dan Tanner's world and reminding viewers that in Sin City fortune and peril walked hand in hand. Off-camera, colleagues remember Haskell as a thoughtful and methodical actor. He arrived early to every set, often armed with extensive research on his character's background. Younger cast members admired his willingness to run scenes repeatedly, seeking the perfect emotional beat rather than settling for the first take. His collaborative spirit and encouraging feedback created an atmosphere of mutual respect and elevated performances across the board. Following his Vegas tenure, Haskell continued to build a varied resume. He landed recurring roles on legal dramas and sci-fi series, each time showcasing his adaptability to different genres. However, he never shied away from returning to his theatrical roots, regularly touring regional theaters and delighting audiences with roles in both contemporary plays and Shakespearean classics. This balance between screen and stage exemplified his belief that a true actor must challenge himself in every medium. In later years, Haskell battled a rare neurological disorder that gradually impaired his mobility and speech. True to form, he faced this adversity with dignity and humor, often joking with friends that he was practicing patience for a final, dramatic monologue. He continued to mentor young actors through video workshops and donated generously to organizations supporting artists with disabilities. Peter Haskell passed away on April 12, 2010, at age 75, leaving behind a legacy defined by discipline, generosity, and an enduring commitment to his craft. His portrayals in Vegas remain a testament to his ability to imbue every role, no matter how brief, with depth and nuance. Victor Buono, 1938 to 1982. Victor Buono was born in February 1938 in San Diego, California, into a family of educators who encouraged his early love of literature and performance. Gifted with a commanding presence and a rich baritone voice, he studied theater at the University of California before heading to New York, where he honed his craft on Broadway. His breakthrough came when film directors noticed his unique combination of sophistication and underlying menace, leading to memorable roles in both comedy and drama. In 1978, Buono joined Vegas as Diamond Jim, an eccentric high roller whose flamboyant style and unpredictable temperament kept Dan Tanna on edge. Every scene he graced crackled with tension as his eyes shifted between playful amusement and cold calculation. Audiences were simultaneously captivated and unnerved by his portrayal of a man who wielded wealth like a weapon and enjoyed the power it gave him over others. Off-camera, Victor was known for his generosity and quick wit. Castmates recall his laughter echoing through the halls between takes and his willingness to share stories from his Broadway days. He took time to mentor young actors, offering guidance on voice work and character development. Despite his imposing on-screen persona, he maintained a humble disposition and treated every colleague with kindness and respect. After Vegas concluded, Buono continued to work in television and film, challenging typecast expectations by taking on roles that showcased his dramatic depth. His performance in a tense courtroom drama earned critical praise, while a later turn in a psychological thriller revealed an actor unafraid to explore vulnerability. Yet behind the scenes, he quietly battled diabetes, a condition that gradually affected his health. In late 1981, complications from his illness forced him into treatment, but he remained mentally sharp and ever curious about new projects. He spent his final months reading scripts and advising friends on theater productions. On January 1, 1982, Victor Buono passed away at the age of 43, leaving the entertainment world mourning the loss of a rare talent. Victor Buono's legacy lives on in the flicker of casino lights he once haunted on screen and in every character who seeks to balance charm with danger. His work on Vegas reminds us that the most unforgettable villains are not monsters but complex individuals whose brilliance casts long shadows. As the final credits of Vegas rolled across screens, the actors who brought Dan Tanner's world to life left behind careers as varied and compelling as the cases they solved. Some, like Robert Urich, built legacies that endured through decades of reruns and charitable foundations still active today. His unwavering determination against illness transformed him from television star into a symbol of hope for countless fans. Others, such as Phyllis Davis and Greg Morris, enjoyed steady work long after their Vegas appearances but quietly stepped away from the spotlight when roles grew scarce or health concerns arose. Their contributions remain celebrated by devoted audiences who remember the warmth and integrity they lent to every scene. In contrast, Tony Curtis and Victor Buono faced journeys marked by reinvention and struggle. Curtis pursued new artistic paths even as Hollywood's attention shifted, while Buono continued to surprise viewers with dramatic turns that belied his reputation for playing charming villains. Both men demonstrated resilience but ultimately found their final acts cut short by health battles. Their stories remind us that fame can open doors yet offers no guarantee of longevity. Naomi Stevens and Richard Bacallion illustrate another type of legacy. They may not have commanded every scene, but their performances added depth and authenticity that elevated the series as a whole. Stevens' mentorship of aspiring actors in her later years and Bacallion's dedication to community theatre showed how passion for the craft can endure long after leading roles fade. Likewise, Byron Morrow and Peter Haskell delivered moments of gravitas and tension that grounded Tanner's more dramatic exploits. Their work underscores the power of character actors to leave indelible impressions. Finally, Will Sampson stands as a testament to art with purpose. His advocacy for indigenous rights and environmental causes extended his impact far beyond his on-screen presence. Sampson's life exemplifies how actors can harness celebrity to effect lasting change. Together, these 10 performers chart a spectrum of success and sacrifice. Some achieved enduring fame. Others found contentment away from the glare of cameras. All faced personal challenges that belie any notion of effortless stardom. Their collective legacy endures in every frame of Vegas and in the lives they touched both on and off camera. If you have enjoyed this exploration of Vegas's fallen stars and the true stories behind the characters we loved, subscribe now and join us for more deep dives into television history and the human stories that shape it.